Hidden behind old tools and dust was the truth, a letter from a mother I was told had died. Her words broke my heart and made me question everything about my past. I found a letter that was never meant for me. I mean, technically it was meant for me, but not like this. Not 27 years late, tucked behind a rusted toolbox in my dead father's garage, covered in dust and oil stains. Not after I'd spent my entire life believing a story that turned out to be a lie. I'm 28 now. My dad died last year. Heart attack, sudden. The kind that doesn't give you time to say goodbye or ask questions you should have asked years ago. He was only 61. We were close. Or at least, I thought we were. He raised me alone from the time I was 6 months old, and he did a damn good job of it. Honestly, I never felt like I was missing anything. He was at every school play, every soccer game, every parent-teacher conference. He taught me how to change a tire, how to make his mom's lasagna recipe, how to stand up for myself without being an asshole about it. And he told me my mother died when I was a baby. Car accident, he said. Quick. Painless. She didn't suffer. He didn't like talking about her much, said it hurt too much, so I learned not to ask. I had one photo of her, this grainy picture of a young woman with dark hair and a soft smile, holding a newborn that I assumed was me. That was it. That was all I had. So when I found the letter, I didn't even know what I was looking at first. I'd been putting off cleaning out his garage for months. My aunt kept nagging me about it, saying we needed to sell the house, that I couldn't keep paying the mortgage on a place I wasn't living in just because I wasn't ready to let go. She was right, obviously, but every time I pulled into that driveway, I felt like I was suffocating. It was a Saturday in March when I finally forced myself to do it. I brought trash bags, boxes, labels, the whole deal. Most of it was junk. Old paint cans, broken lawnmower parts, boxes of Christmas decorations from the 90s. I was working my way through the back corner when I moved this heavy red toolbox and saw the envelope. It was wedged between the wall and the shelf, like it had fallen back there, or been put there. The envelope was yellowed, the edges soft from age, and my name was written on the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. Christopher. Not Chris, which is what everyone calls me. Christopher. My hands were shaking when I opened it. I don't know why. Maybe some part of me already knew. The letter inside was dated April 1997. I would have been almost 2 years old. It started, "My dearest Christopher, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I need you to know I tried." I had to sit down on the concrete floor. My chest felt tight. The letter was from my mother, my living mother, a woman named Elena Graves, who explained, in handwriting that got messier as the letter went on, like she would cry while she wrote it, that she'd been looking for me for over a year, that my father had taken me and disappeared, that she'd hired a private investigator who finally tracked us to this town, to this address, that she was going to come get me. She said she loved me. She said she was sorry. She said she never wanted to leave me, that it wasn't her choice, that she'd been fighting for me since the day I was gone. I read it 3 times. Then I threw up in the driveway. I didn't understand. I couldn't. My father wasn't a kidnapper. He wasn't some villain who stole a baby in the night. He was my dad. The man who made me pancakes shaped like dinosaurs when I was sad. The man who sat with me in the ER when I broke my arm in 3rd grade and told me dumb jokes until I stopped crying. The man who worked 2 jobs to send me to college. But the letter was real. The date was real. And my mother, if that's who this woman really was, said she was coming for me. So why didn't she? I sat in that garage until the sun went down, holding that piece of paper like it was going to dissolve if I let go. I kept thinking about my childhood, about all the times my dad was weird about certain things. How we moved towns when I was 4, and then again when I was 7. How he never wanted to take vacations anywhere far away. How he got tense whenever I asked about my mom, or about his past, or about why we didn't have any other family besides a sister. How he always checked the locks at night. I thought he was just protective. Anxious, maybe. A single dad doing his best. But now I didn't know what the hell he was. I went home that night and didn't sleep. I pulled out every photo album I had, every document, everything my dad ever gave me about my past. My birth certificate, my social security card, that one picture of my mother. I'd never really looked at that photo before. Not really. But now I did. The woman in the picture had dark hair, yeah, but her smile, God, I don't know. It felt staged. And the baby in her arms didn't look newborn. Maybe 6 months old, maybe older. And on the back, in my dad's handwriting, Christopher's mother, 1996. Not a name, just Christopher's mother. Who writes that? I couldn't breathe. I didn't know what to do, so I did the only thing I could think of. I opened my laptop and searched for her. Elena Graves. And I found her. She was alive. Elena Graves, 54 years old, living in Oregon. There were Facebook photos, a LinkedIn profile, a website for a small pottery business she ran. In her profile picture, she was smiling, older now, obviously, with gray streaking through that same dark hair, but I recognized something in her face. Something I'd seen in the mirror my whole life. The shape of my eyes. The way my mouth curved when I smiled. I spent the entire night scrolling through her life. Photos of her garden. Her dog. Some kind of terrier mix. A post from 2 years ago about finishing a 5K for charity. She looked normal. Happy, even. There were no pictures of kids. No mentions of a son. It felt like being punched in the chest over and over again. I didn't reach out. Not that night. I couldn't. What was I supposed to say? Hey, I think you might be my mom. And also I think my dad maybe kidnapped me. But I'm not sure, so this is awkward. Instead, I went back to garage the next day. I tore that place apart. If there was one letter, maybe there were more. Maybe there was something else my dad had hidden. And I found it. Not another letter. A box. Small, wooden, shoved inside an old duffel bag in the rafters. Inside were papers. Documents. And the truth, there was a restraining order. Filed by my father against Elena Graves in 1996. It claimed she was unstable, dangerous, that she'd threatened to take me and disappear. There were court documents about a custody battle. Medical records, hers, not mine, mentioning psychiatric evaluation, postpartum depression, some kind of breakdown after I was born. There was a final custody ruling. My father had won. Full custody. She was allowed supervised visitation only. And then, nothing. No visitation logs. No records of her trying to see me after 1997. I sat there staring at those papers. Trying to make sense of it. Try to fit the pieces together. My dad didn't kidnap me. He won me. Legally. But then why did he tell me she was dead? Why did he hide the letter? Why did we keep moving? I felt like I was losing my mind. Part of me wanted to believe my dad was protecting me. That maybe Elena really was dangerous back then. That maybe he was just doing what he thought was right. But another part of me, the part that kept rereading her letter, the part that saw the pain in her words, couldn't let it go. I need you to know I tried. If she was so unstable, why did her letter sound so sane? So heartbroken? I didn't know who to believe. And my dad wasn't here to ask. I waited 3 more days before I sent the message. I made a fake Facebook account. I know that's cowardly. But I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to walk into this as me until I knew more. I kept it simple. Hi, I'm trying to locate information about a woman named Elena Graves who may have lived in Pennsylvania in the mid-1990s. If this is you, please let me know. It's important. She responded in less than an hour. Who is this? I stared at that message for 20 minutes before I replied. I think you knew my father. His name was Richard Hayes. He passed away last year. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, is this Christopher? My stomach dropped. Yes. There was a long pause. I thought maybe she wouldn't reply. Maybe this was too much for her, too. Maybe she'd moved on and didn't want to dredge up the past. But then my phone rang. The fake account didn't have a number attached, but a message came through. Please call me. And a phone number. I don't know how long I sat there staring at it. Could have been 5 minutes. Could have been 30. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I finally called, she picked up on the first ring. Christopher? Her voice cracked when she said my name. Yeah, I said. It's me. She started crying. Not like quiet tears. Full sobbing. And I just stood there in my kitchen, holding the phone, not knowing what the hell to say. I'm sorry, she finally managed. I never thought I'd hear your voice. I didn't think you'd ever want to find me. I didn't know you existed, I said, and it came out harsher than I meant it to. I thought you were dead. Silence. He told you I was dead? Yeah. More silence. Then quietly, of course he did. There was so much pain in those 4 words. I found your letter, I said, from 1997. You said you were coming to get me. I tried, she whispered. God, Christopher, I tried. But your father got a restraining order extended. Said I was harassing him. My lawyer said if I kept pushing, I'd end up in contempt, maybe worse. I could have gone to jail. And then I'd have no chance of ever seeing you. So you just gave up? No. Her voice got firmer. I never gave up. I sent letters. I sent birthday cards. I tried to reach out through the courts again when you turned 5, and again when you turned 10. Every single one came back or got blocked. Your father made sure I couldn't find you. And eventually my lawyer told me the best thing I could do for you was let you have a stable life. That dragging you through more court battles would only hurt you. I didn't know what to say. I thought about you every single day, she said. Every birthday. Every Christmas. I wonder what you looked like. What you sounded like. If you were happy. I said, and then quieter. I don't know anymore. I'm so sorry, she said. And the thing is, I believed her. We talked for 2 hours. She told me about the custody battle, about the postpartum depression she'd struggled with after I was born, about how my father used it against her in court. She told me she'd gotten help, gotten better, but by then it was too late. She told me about the life she'd built afterward, alone, always with this hole in it shaped like me. And I told her about my dad, about the man he was, the good parts, because there were good parts. So many of them. But I also told her about the letter, the box, the moves, the lies. When we finally hung up, I felt hollowed out. Because here's the thing I couldn't stop thinking about. They were both right, and they were both wrong. And I'd never get to ask my dad why he chose fear over truth. I met her 3 weeks later. She offered to come to me, but I said no. I don't know why. Maybe I needed the control. Maybe I needed to be able to leave if it got too heavy. So I drove to Oregon. 8 hours in the car with nothing but my thoughts and a playlist I couldn't focus on. I was terrified the entire way. We met at a coffee shop in Portland. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. I got there early and sat in my car for 15 minutes, watching the door. I kept thinking about leaving. Just turning around and pretending this never happened. Going back to my life where my dad was a hero and my mom was a tragedy, and everything was simple, but it wasn't simple. It never had been. When she walked in, I knew her immediately. She was wearing a green jacket and kept looking around like she was afraid I wouldn't show. When our eyes met, she froze. I stood up. My legs felt like they might give out. "Christopher," she said, and her voice broke on my name just like it had on the phone. We didn't hug. It felt too soon for that. Too weird. We just sat down across from each other and stared. "You look like him," she said finally. "You have his smile." I didn't know what to say to that. She ordered tea. I ordered coffee I didn't drink, and we talked, or tried to. It was awkward as hell at first. What are you supposed to say to the mother you never knew? The one your father erased? But eventually, it got easier. She told me about meeting my dad in college, about how intense he was, how charming, how that intensity turned into something darker after I was born. Jealousy, control, paranoia. She said he accused her of wanting to leave him, of being a bad mother, of losing her mind. And maybe I was, she admitted, losing my mind. I mean, I was so tired, so overwhelmed. I loved you so much it scared me. And I didn't know how to tell him I was struggling without him using it against me. She said when she finally asked for a separation, he disappeared with me 2 days later, just packed up and left while she was at her mother's house. By the time she found us, he'd already filed for custody and painted her as unstable. "I made mistakes," she said, looking down at her tea. "I wasn't perfect. The postpartum depression was real, but I never would have hurt you. I needed help. And instead of helping me, he took you. I believed her, but I also believed my dad loved me. And that's the part one can't reconcile. How do you hold both of those truths at the same time? That my father saved me from a mother who was struggling, but also that he stole me from a mother who was trying? That he gave me a good life, but built on a lie?" I asked her why she didn't keep fighting, why she let him win. She looked at me for a long time before answering. "Because I was tired," she said, "and because every lawyer, every therapist, every judge told me that dragging you through more trauma wasn't love. That maybe the kindest thing I could do was step back, let you be happy, even if it killed me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I thought about finding you when you turned 18. I had this whole plan. But then I thought, what if you hated me? What if Richard told you I abandoned you, and you didn't want anything to do with me? I couldn't handle that. So I waited. I kept waiting for some sign that you wanted to know me. And it never came. Because I thought you were dead," I said. "I know." We sat there in silence. Here's the thing nobody tells you about complicated grief. You can be angry at someone and still miss them. You can feel betrayed and still love them. My dad lied to me. He kept me from my mother. He built walls around my entire childhood to keep her out. But he also loved me. I know he did. And I think he was scared. Scared of losing me. Scared that if I knew the truth, I'd leave him, choose her. Maybe he was right. Maybe I would have. I spent the rest of the day with Elena. We walked around the city. She showed me her studio, the pottery she made. She had this small wheel in the corner, and she asked if I wanted to try. I'm terrible at pottery, it turns out. But she laughed, this bright, real laugh, and something in my chest cracked open. I didn't call her Mom. I don't know if I ever will. But when I left that night, we hugged, and it felt, I don't know, it felt like something. I've seen her 4 times since then. We talk on the phone every couple of weeks. It's still weird, still hard. There are moments where I look at her and feel this grief for all the years we lost, all the birthdays and Christmases, and random Tuesdays we'll never get back. And there are moments where I'm so angry at my dad I can barely breathe. But there are also moments where I remember him teaching me to ride a bike, or helping me with my math homework, or telling me he was proud of me when I graduated college. And I have to believe that person was real, too. I don't have answers. I don't have some neat conclusion where I forgive everyone and move on. I'm still angry. I'm still confused. I'm still grieving a father I loved in a childhood I thought I understood. But I'm also getting to know my mother, the real one, not the dead saint my father created, but the flesh and blood woman who lost her son and spent 27 years wondering if he thought about her. I do now. I think about her all the time. And I think about him, about the man who raised me and the man who lied to me, and how they were the same person. I don't know if I'll ever make peace with that, but I'm trying. And maybe that's enough.